Hey y'all, it is Alexis from Ask Alexis here, and we have a super awesome guest today. This is Miss Erica Bradford from Nurse Canna Hills, and guess what she gonna talk to us about today? Weed. Yep, I said it. Weed,
Oh,
cannabis, marijuana, all the herb. She's gonna talk to us about smoking it. No, I'm just playing. Let me not say what she's gonna talk to us about with it. Before we get into our talk though, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this great content. You want to find out more about personal transformation, allyship, relationships. We talk about it all here on the comfy couch in our cozy pajamas. So without further ado, Miss Erica on the comfy
hey,
couch
hey,
and
hey.
in them slaying ass leopard print pajamas. I see you.
Okay,
See
so
you.
cozy, so cozy. Well, thank you, thank you,
Ooh, tell us
thank
about
you for
weed and what
having
you
me.
do.
So, who I is and what I do and who I do it for. I am Erica, aka Nurse Bradford. I'm on Instagram as Canna Nurse Hill. Yes, you can. Um, what I do is I help to create comfortable cannabis conversations. And my main goal and mission is to help women, especially women of color, understand how to create a delicious life and using cannabis, calming of the mind, such as meditation, and even clitoral stimulation to help bring it all together,
Ooh,
create that
start with
yummy,
the
delicious
clitoris.
life.
Start with the clitoris. Now
Just bring
hold
it
up.
on now.
We just go
Just
so
bring it on
cheers
now.
there. It's gonna cheer on. Now I didn't know we was going there. She surprised me with this too, y'all.
Yeah, I
Cheer
just
bear
threw
gonna
that. Yeah.
cheer bear is gonna cheer it on. See the hip roll? That's for all 8,000 nerve endings of the clit, okay? Because what you don't know is I'm on my way to be a sexologist. So that's all 8,000 nerve endings
See?
of the clit and the multiple orgasms that can follow
Yes.
from it, especially when you involve. Can I go ahead? And I ain't gonna tell my business. You
No,
tell us
you
yours.
no, you look, you go on ahead. Look, I like, hey, I just
I,
go with the
listen,
flow.
you done
But
finished talking. I forgot we recording for the world to see. Okay. I got an ex boyfriend. Know what I'm thinking about. So
okay.
you go right
Hey.
ahead.
Yeah, so those three things, I mean, cannabis, of course, is my passion, and I'll get into how that even became a thing. But the adding in the calming of the mind through meditation and even clitoral stimulation, which doesn't just have to be masturbation, but there's so many ways to stimulate our bodies as well. But I realized those three things together, I call them those my key ingredients, really help to create that delicious life. It really, really helped me. And so when it comes to cannabis, even when it comes to discussing
I'm
masturbation in our
sorry. Wait a
bodies
minute. You said cannabis, clitoral stimulation, and what else? I done got so
and
distracted
calming of the mind.
and calming. You right, and that's my joint, right? That's what I do. You done call out. I done got all excited in my.
Right. Say, ooh, okay, wait a minute.
All right, sorry. And that's just in case y'all was distracted like me.
Yes, yes, yes. So just to bring it on back, because again, when you hear that word or even hearing masturbation, it's kind of like, and then also cannabis, that's going to really have people like, oh, wait a minute. So I help women understand how to be comfortable with it, how to use it, how to use those to really create that power within you and rediscover that power within us and help us cope with so much stuff that we deal with as women. Um,
Ooh,
and
and
as a,
women,
yeah,
okay?
for real,
Because
bag ladies, we become
I
for
just
real.
want to talk about this, and I know y'all. I heard the feedback. I gotta let my guests talk, but I be having to throw in these tidbits. Okay, so here's the thing: Black women have a lot of
Mhm.
difficulty sometimes getting inside of their bodies, and not all Black women, because there's women out here like us that's fully liberated and loving all the things our body can do. But
Mhm.
some people, for this stereotypes like being a Jezebel, or I don't want to be seen as a thought, or I don't want to be ratchet, or all this purity culture, and so you're not even able to enjoy your body fully inside of your love and committed relationship. Like I'm not here to convince you to, go out here and hoe around, but if you hoe, be the best hoe. But I am and be safe. But I am going to say you deserve to love and live love and experience the feeling of pleasure inside your body in whatever way you're allowed to have relationship. Okay?
Mhm.
Get to know it and your clit. Back to you.
And Yes, and it's so funny you say that because I know we kind of went this way, but we're gonna get it on back. But when I was discussing this with some other women, the first thing a lady said was, "Well, you married, right?" And I'm like, "Well, what does that have to do with me understanding my body?" I'm like, "It's crazy how everything you said about how we can view ourselves from, am I a hoe? Am I too slutty? Am I being a thought? Is because of pretty much those male created versions of what women are, and that's what the society is kind of dictated by what men's rules and standards are. And unluckily, a lot of us, I know even I was victim to this for a long time, would use those standards to define who I was and not really understand how to find my own pleasure because I felt like, oh, well, a man is supposed to do that. And I'm like, how the hell he gonna know?
And
How he gonna know all 8,000 of this? And I don't even know what's going on.
those stories play in your mind when you're trying to get it in. Like when with like being relaxed is one of the most important parts of having or being able to achieve orgasm or even just to enjoy arousal and pleasure. And if you got all of those, what am I supposed to be doing going on in your mind, you can't have it. And I know this about bringing it back to cannabis.
Yes, that's
That
where I was going to.
so to me, that and a lot of other stuff. I've done a
Hmm.
lot of work on figuring out how I think about sex and what is true for me and not true for me.
Yes.
But it helped me slow down and to be able to separate, like to be able to get into my body to enjoy it for the pleasure center that it is, instead of what thoughts I'm thinking about. What is, women are thinking about like, what do I smell like? What does he think about how I taste? Or what about
Hmm.
my stretch marks?
Exactly.
What about? Instead of like,
Yes,
ooh, how does this feel? Oh, I enjoy that.
exactly. Yeah, we don't usually let loose. And I think that's what holds a lot of women back. And from not letting loose because we don't feel comfortable to our mind is everywhere. And funny, like you say, when you brought up cannabis, I'm like, that is exactly why that is a part of it because it does help with relaxing. It does help with calming the mind. And for some women, they may think, oh, well, you can have a drink and do that. Yeah, you can. But then for me, what I notice is it's a whole lot easier for me to maintain who I am and have cannabis, whether I'm using CBD drops and still feel relaxed and good, than keep drinking and taking them shots. And now you realize, oh, you may have went too far. Oh, now I don't feel good. Oh, not the next day.
Yeah,
So it's
I'm gonna tell you this thing. I don't know about y'all, but when I drink, orgasms are not achievable. I get stuck
mhm,
at the plateau phase. And so sex is this thing of torture as opposed to something that is enjoyable and has a finish.
yeah. And
And,
for me,
and
that's even
that's
if I get there.
that happens at 2 drinks.
Yeah. And see, for me, I may end up, depending on what I'm drinking, I may get angry and it'll mess up the whole night.
The
Like, oh,
whole
what the
bag.
hell?
Yeah,
What
unless you like that kind of thing with your sex.
the hell? Right,
Some
right.
people do.
So yeah, so
But
I've
Grumpy Bear
noticed even
probably like that. You know what I'm saying? He probably
yeah,
likes
yeah,
a little bit of
he want
rough
that rough
with his
love.
love. Yeah, look at his face. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
he
saying?
like give it to
Thugging
me
it
like
out.
that.
This the
Right.
dude, Grumpy will hit you with his Tim's on, okay?
Yeah. Grumpy say, tell me I ain't shit. I know you love me.
Oh my goodness, I was just having this talk. I'm not gonna put this person on blast, but this is a male that was telling me like, "Oh, I like it when she go nuts because I know she cares." I was like, "You sound like you're in an abusive relationship."
And he loved it.
Yes, I was like, "That is toxic as fuck." He was like, "So."
Right. But yeah, cannabis does help with that. And I think helping women understand that it's not just weed. Because when you hear cannabis, everybody think, oh wait, I don't smoke weed, I don't do drugs. And that's when I first started talking about cannabis on my social media. Every comment that I got inbox, a lot of people wouldn't say nothing on there, but they inbox me, well, I don't smoke weed. And I'm like, well, you don't have to. You still don't. There are so many options. And that's what I feel like my role is. And being a nurse and realizing one, people trust nurses more than they own doctors.
Oh yeah, she's an
Uh,
actual nurse, y'all. She's not.
yeah, an actual
She's a
RN.
registered
Yes.
nurse, not like, and that's no shade on any other profession.
No,
But I'm
no,
just
no, not
letting
at
you know
all.
she is a registered nurse and with a 4-year degree. She did not graduate from Raw.
Yes. So, right, let me give you my little background. So, yes, I am an RN. I went to actually U of D in Detroit, went to UD in Mercy. I've been a nurse for 15 years, an RN. Yeah, dang,
Experience.
15 years.
You do
Okay.
not look like you old enough to do 15 years of nothing black don't crack.
Okay. So I tried. I does what I can do. Add my pawns. No, I'm just kidding. But I've been a nurse for 15 years. I'm also a medical cannabis consultant, so that is why I love to spread that info. And recently I became a meditation practitioner because I was loving meditating. I saw it was helping me. A lot of people were asking me about it. And even for me, when I was trying to find people that meditated and looked like me, a lot of us, they are there, but it's like it's not as easy to find those groups that is. And I don't want to be the black girl in the class, and I'm not trying to be rude to anyone, but I just was like, I'm always tired of being the black girl that does yoga or the
So
black
we
girl in the
need
group.
allyship here, and
Hmm.
one of the having them safe spaces with people who have common interests. We don't get to take off just because we're exploring our spiritual side or our inner, deeper
Hmm.
self. Doesn't mean we get to take off our human experience of being black in the world. And in
Yes.
Detroit, which is where we are, that like it is starting to become more popular and more mainstream. Like, and when I say mainstream, like a lot of
Hmm.
people are meditating. We having this conversation. We was just also,
Right.
what I'm saying? Like we know each other in real life. Like there is that. But it's hard to find people who look like us do like
Hmm.
being that I'm a little bit hood and a little bit hippie.
Right.
I
So
like my
that was
on this
my
the
thing.
ratchet way, as we say on the comfy couch.
Exactly. So funny, and that's what I'm going to actually do starting in January. I'm going to do a 6-week intro to meditation, and my goal is 100 Black folks, but it don't even matter. But I just really want to get as many people into that regular routine of just because I hear people like, well, I don't know how to start. Am I doing it right? And sometimes we make it so much more complicated. And for me, I swear, once I really started doing it, the things that started to just really shift in my life was like, damn, that's the only thing I'm really doing different. How things just start unfolding, and even my whole view of things was so different. And I would start to be more mindful with catching myself before I start thinking the BS and go down that BS funnel of trash. And I say, no, no, don't think like that no more. We don't focus on that. And seeing how just making those little small changes and speaking differently has been freaking amazing. So
So
seriously.
you are preaching to the Care Bear choir here, and this is Lexi
Okay.
Cares Bear. This is Lexi Cares Bear here, right? I got a design. You'll see. Stay tuned with
Yes.
merchandise.
I cannot wait for
People
that.
don't come for me. This is Lexi Cares Bear. Okay, Lexi Cares Bear, not Lexi
There.
Care Bear. Um,
Right, right. Let's get it clear. McDowell's.
Lexi cares about y'all. Bear, right? Like that's
Right.
fair.
Who happens to
Um,
be a bear.
that happens to have a belly that shoots presents out of her chest
Right.
instead of love. Okay, I shoot present, the power of present. Anyway, back to this.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
after I had my spiritual awakening, I began meditating a lot, but I was smoking weed, and I found I've experienced trauma, and what would happen for me when I'm triggered is that I can only like my feelings would tell me what to think instead of my me telling my thoughts how to feel, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so then when I began to, this is also part of how I coach, but anyway, the my feelings would tell me what to think instead of me thinking to feel how I wanted to feel. And because I was meditating with cannabis, it allowed me to be able to just watch my thoughts as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to be attached to them. So it was like an observation, like my mind was still racing. I was just able to watch them without having my body have feelings, which would then send me on this thought train of what to think about next. And I would think thoughts to like feed my feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And what
Mm-hmm.
I learned through that practice was how much our thoughts shape the reality that we experience and how we
Yes.
can manifest reality if we are doing the work of clearing our subconscious mind and implanting new thoughts.
Yes. I so feel you. And that's why I want to make it clear too, because some people may say, well, I smoke weed all the time. I don't feel this way. Or I masturbate all the time. I'm by myself. I don't feel this way. Or, well, I've meditated. I don't feel this way. And that's why I think it's so important to stress how for every person it's different, but that's why I call them the key ingredients. Like when you're making a pie, you got to have certain ingredients for that pie to be good. You just can't put everything in the pie. And the things that you're putting in there, it has to be certain amounts. And that's why I'm like, these three things coming together is what makes it. So it's not just, oh, well, I smoke weed. So why am I not feeling spiritually awakened? Because even for me, there was a time when I did use marijuana and affected me almost losing my license. Like I share this because one, I see the power of how God really works and bringing things full circle. Um, and during that time of use, it wasn't like, I knew that it was a way to help me relax and calm me. Um, Being a nurse and being able to have, stretch of days off, being able to just chill and kind of, even with things going on in life, just regular everyday life, to kind of, without going and taking some prescription drugs, that was not my thing, or without just drinking every day. That was something. But then,
Hangovers will catch up with you.
okay. But of course, at that time, which was over 10 years ago, now that was, yeah, a while ago. Dang, time goes by. That was not a time where it was acceptable. You know what I'm saying? And that was a flaw I made because I decided to try to get another job. Just sad. No, it wasn't that I was messing up at work. I decided I was trying to get another job because I was all about the money. Again, not being in tune with myself, not listening to my intuition and body that told. I remember always going back to something in me was like, girl, sit your ass down and not go for that drug test. And I was like, no, I'm going to be fine. And I remember hearing it, but I was so disconnected at that time with understanding how our bodies gives us a sign, and understanding how when stuff isn't right in your body, it's telling you like, girl, get it together. And not understanding any of that, go take a test, not pass. And I remember, I didn't tell anybody. Like the fact that I don't even know my mama may know because she went on my website that I just created and it's in there, but I didn't mention to her to look at that. So, but I didn't discuss it with anyone because I was so embarrassed. I couldn't believe I was in that situation. And what was really crazy was that I had to go to rehab, right? Had to go to rehab, and it was nurses in there. I'm the only one in there for marijuana. Every nurse in there was had been taking medicine from the hospital. They were on all these prescription drugs for pain, anxiety, and I'm thinking like, y'all could probably be smoking marijuana and be chill. But then I'm like, but again, at that point, it's not legal at all for anything. So it's just like, that's crazy that I'm in the same room. But really, this is crazy.
So
And so to go through that,
I
no,
just
go
want
ahead,
to
go
give
ahead.
a little interruption here on the like. I find it interesting that now there are people I have met that have told me they
Hmm.
are addicted to weed. I
Yes,
know that even if you are addicted to weed, the withdrawals from weed and the withdrawals from the drugs you just listed are very,
hmm.
very different. I just want to take this moment to let people know why they are very different. We are on a push to
Oh yeah.
legalize weed and to decriminalize weed, but weed was listed as a Schedule 1 drug, like
Hmm.
a narcotic, for racist purposes in order to be able to
Yes.
stop dissent against war and to be able to link the hippies and the Black Panthers to drugs and narcotics um, and criminal activity. So they made weed the same level as heroin and thus put a whole lot of people in prison like it was that schedule of things. And that was racism and systemic racism. Just want to throw
Hmm.
that out there. And so now, fast forward to today, Erica is in a class full of people who are addicted to a rehab for something that she's not having a problem with. It is just
Right.
in order for her to be able to maintain her livelihood, she has to
That's what I had to do.
say that she's an addict and go for rehabilitation with people who are hooked on things that give you real life physical withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah. So
And
that
they
was
were
really
like hooked to the
crazy.
point that they was doing criminal things.
Yeah, and that's what to me when I was in that situation, and they wanted it to be 2 years, but the doctor, it was so funny when I went to see him. Even he knew, he's like, I know that this is not what I know this is not addiction, but I got to do something. So do this process, whatever, whatever. But to sit in that room, it really was like, this is crazy. And so to fast forward to over 10 years later, working and doing case management, and from that moment on, I always kind of had like a side eye towards cannabis, like, you cost me too much, mofo. Like, it was like, yeah, you're cool, like, but I see how you've done me. So I still kind of had that stigma in my head. Of course, that's what we all know for years, like you say, of misinformation. anyway. And plus being put in a situation like that, it really kind of reinforces, yes, this is bad. Even though I still, something in me was like, but it's not that bad. And so fast forward over 10 years later, I'm doing case management and I work with clients over the phone who are out of the hospital, making sure they've got everything in place. Um, and people started telling me how they were using cannabis. And so now within the last 10 years, it has become legal here in Michigan. It's legal now, both medical and recreational. But I still didn't feel comfortable with talking to them about it because in my mind, again, here go this. Y'all ain't gonna catch me again with this. I don't want to ask
Right.
no
It's that
questions.
trauma
I ain't.
response.
Yeah, yeah. So I kind of just started on my own. Something just kept telling me like, do some more research. Because if people are asking about this as a nurse, shouldn't I ask something? Shouldn't I know what to discuss with them? Is it safety things I needed to go over? And that's when I stumbled across information about being a consultant and as a nurse and different avenues that you can go to and understanding about cannabis. And I took a course and it really opened my eyes to so much that I had no idea about, even the history of it, which again, I didn't know much about the history. I mean, yeah, I knew about the war on drugs and kind of how a little bit of how it was played out, but to really get a full understanding of cannabis in America and how its real use and how it's being so misconstrued and turned into this bad thing, and then to understand how it works in our bodies and how our bodies actually have a system that responds to it. And it was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So then it made me more comfortable. And then even when I started
Tell us
to,
more about that
Mhm.
system to respond to it because your
Yes,
story is very, very, very interesting. But you got this
yes,
knowledge that helps the people. And
yes.
that body
So
responding to it, like that blows my mind.
yeah, and that's what made it make. Oh. Sorry.
No
Okay.
worries. You back?
Yes.
You back?
Yeah. I need to tell them because they're gonna probably keep. I need to change something on my phone. Hopefully, it don't go off again. But yes, the endocannabinoid system is what it's called. And I do have a course for healthcare professionals who are like, I need to know more about this. I do offer a course for that starting in January. It's on my website. I'll give that cannabisheal.com. And I'll also have one for, yep, I'm going to also create, I've got one coming up for just your everyday person who's like, I need to know some stuff too. Yeah, or even in other businesses, whether you're in a spa or other lines of business that's not healthcare, but you work with people and want to understand more, I've got something for that too.
I coach people.
But
It would be nice to know, like, so I know how it affects me, but that
mhm,
doesn't tell me how I know it affects different people differently. And I feel like it would
right,
be helpful for me to know how it might be affecting my clients and what they're doing.
exactly. And that's what to me helped me understand that it's not just saying, oh, well, I feel good, because for a while it don't do nothing but make you high, and that was just all you knew. And then once CBD came out, or, people are like, well, what is CBD? Hemp? What is, and then even still with that, people are, what is that, weed? Understanding how all of that works. And so our bodies, we have this endocannabinoid system. And what it does is it helps to regulate so much in our body, from our sleep cycle to um, our pain, how we respond to pain, um, heat regulation, immunity, inflammation in the body. And so it helps to keep everything in balance. But what happens is stress, trauma on our bodies, and that comes in different ways. It doesn't have to actually come from like a car accident, but that could. It could just come from all the stress you're dealing with in your own personal life, building up, building up, building up. Your body's in a high constant state of stress and things get thrown off whack. And then we get different health conditions, diseases. Like the word disease is what? Dis-ease, because our bodies is out of ease and out of whack. And so our bodies are not really able to produce those, they call them endocannabinoids, which are like what the, oh shoot, oh my goodness. 1 second, we're gonna have to, 1 second. Being a parent is so crazy.
So
Yeah,
be back,
so
y'all.
your body is out of whack. And so the endocannabinoid system is not able to regulate those things. And so that's where you will run into issues with pain. Some people, even I remember, and this is so crazy, I was going through so much freaking stress a few years ago, like just craziness. I started like breaking out all over. They thought I had lupus. They was taking skin biopsies, all this. Couldn't figure out what the hell was wrong with me. Had no clue. Once I really start taking the time to focus on me, find myself, figure out how to get into with my body, I realized, girl, your body was telling you you needed to get it together. Because once I started to change, be more mindful of how I ate and what was going into my body and meditating, it's so crazy how that's all it was that got things back in balance. And yes, I started using CBD, and I noticed how that did help, even with regulating my sleep, which was so out of whack, helping to keep me calm during the day where you can still work and not be high. Whether you're taking Xanax or taking pain medicines, even if I have a headache, I'm like, oh, I can use my little roll on or I can take my drops. And it's not like, oh, I'm about to be drowsy. I can't function. So
I think
CBD, yeah.
I think
Hmm.
you just brought up a really cool point about now that we're able to explore the benefits of cannabis and
Hmm.
isolate CBD is separate from THC, right? Like
Yes.
it is a medicine where you don't have to have side effects on your ability to function cognitively, right?
Yes.
Like I
And
think
that's
that's what
the
I just heard
big
you saying.
part of
You
it.
could think on this. It doesn't change, like
Hmm.
it gives you more of a pleasant disposition, but it also doesn't make you groggy or drought. Like you know what I'm saying? We're not talking about getting
Hmm.
couch lock, y'all. We're not talking about like where you get high. We're talking about where you just get, what do you get? Lifted?
So this is the funny thing. Our body produces something that's called anandamide, and that's the what would be the endocannabinoid system. It would produce that. Anandamide is from the Latin word bliss, which means bliss. So it's supposed to produce these good feeling hormones. But again, like I say, when your body gets all out of whack, it's hard to feel good. And we don't even realize that that's a normal state of how we should really be. CBD also releases that and creates that when it connects in our body with our endocannabinoid system. It's like a lock and key. It opens up, think of it like opening up the doors of Care Bear land and bliss. And it creates that as well. So that's something that it does without giving you the effects of affecting how you function, like THC does. It affects the brain. And for some people that, oh, I'm so out of it, I can't function, high feeling. Now, I have had people who've tried CBD, and it's so funny. They're like, are you sure I'm not high? I'm like, no, you feel good. You're just not used to
You
feeling
just don't
good.
know what feeling pleasant feels like. And
Yeah.
I was just about to ask you, so for a person who may have like intergenerational trauma, or they have like just,
Mhm.
it's hard for them to not, like, what I'm saying, some people walk around depressed and think that's normal, so they don't know
Yep.
they're depressed just because they never feel good. how are what do you say to that person? Because that person might smoke weed every day and they be like, I'm already smoking weed, they don't do that for me. You know what I'm saying? is
Mhm.
is it different when you take the CBD? Like, would it do something different, or do you get CBD when you smoke it too?
Yeah, and so each person is different. I always say if it's a person who is every day you smoking, smoking, smoking every day constantly, before if I'm working with you want to work with me as a consultant to figure out a plan, like a cannabis care plan in a way of what you should use and to reach your goals, I'm gonna say you need to quit for we need to get you like stop smoking for at least a couple weeks. Like I need a couple weeks to kind of start getting stuff out of your system, maybe even 30 days, depending on how much you're using, and start fresh. Because a lot of times, one, if you just smoking weed, like I was saying earlier, those three things, having the cannabis, and now let's add in some meditation. Let's kind of show you how to calm your mind, how to be more mindful with your, if you want to smoke, if that's your route, maybe you do edibles or other routes. But if you're smoking, okay, let's talk about you smoking. Because sometimes I realized, no, this is so funny. It didn't crack me up, but it kind of was like, damn, that is so true. I was listening to this webinar. I was on this webinar, and it was actually like a Yoni Steam girls Yoni whatever come together moment. But the host was making a like a comment about smoking, and she was saying how she used to smoke, and I think she was discussing cigarettes, but she was saying when you think, what is it? You're inhaling, you're exhaling, you're inhaling, you're exhaling, and she's like, that's what you do with meditation. I think that's like the biggest part of it. And I was
Oh,
like, wow. And she
I
said,
remember that smoking is a meditation with breathing. So I enjoy
mm-hmm,
I used to smoke cigarettes, and
mm-hmm,
I enjoy the act of smoking. I not the smoke. Like, I enjoy the act more than the feeling of smoke in my chest. Although I like the feeling of smoke in my chest, I
mm-hmm.
like smoking weed. But when I think about like, it's a ritual too. You got to break
Yeah.
your weed down. You got to, like, if you're smoking it, you got to do all these things with a cigarette. A lot of the habits when people are trying to quit is more about the stuff they do associated with smoking. Like people can't drive
Hmm.
without smoking. People can't wait without baking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I like a little edible, a little weed oil in my coffee.
Hmm.
When I'm
Hmm.
not smoking, if I put a little weed oil in my coffee, I get that pleasant disposition you're talking about. And for me, it's not enough to get high. It's just enough to have like it's a mood regulator. And I feel okay with taking it that way because I'm not high, but I am also not anxious.
Yeah.
Like I'm
And I
just
think it depends on the route and how you're taking it. There are some strains that just don't work good for people, but they don't. Again, my big thing is when you add in that mindfulness behind it, you look at it kind of different. You'll start to notice, okay, am I really just smoking, like you say, because it's a habit and I just smoke every day and I ain't really attributing to the fact that it's really not fixing anything. I'm just doing it just because. Because I'm not aware of anything that's really going on. I'm kind of numbing myself to everything. And just by being mindful, just by taking those little steps, whether it's I'm breaking down this green because I know this is good for my body, and start telling your body different things. Oh, I know when I smoke this joint or when I smoke this blunt, this is me healing my body and looking at it from a different, taking your time as you're doing it. It's those little things, like you say before when you were talking about how you were leading with your feelings. It's like a lot of times we let our bodies tell the mind what to do as opposed to the mind telling the body what to do. And we'll do that by going by our experiences and past traumas and things. And we go with those feelings as opposed to letting the mind be more in control and say, no, I'm not letting that dictate everything. So for me, that's one of my big things with it is if you're already using and you're like, well, I smoke weed all the time. What's the difference? Okay, well, let's see. What kind of weed are you using? Are you just going to your homeboy get weed? You don't really know what you're getting. You know what I'm
I
saying? Are you?
think that that's something that's important to bring up because you
Yeah.
mentioned it earlier, like different strands do different things. If you just used to getting your weed from Rocco down the block, and I do not know a real Rocco, I just made that up.
Right.
Please know I'm
Come
not
right.
snitching. But if you just get your weed from Roscoe, Ralph, whatever his name is, down the block, you don't know. And so how are you able to experiment with yourself? How are you able to see like, oh, I don't like that one kind, or I don't, give
Hmm.
me some green crack versus Alaskan Thunderfuck. Like all these weed brand
Exactly.
names are
Exactly.
ridiculous too.
They so are. I'm like, who comes up with this? But those are certain things that matter. And even keeping a journal. And that's something too that I provide for them to just kind of go through. And again, it's being more mindful because a lot of times we don't take the time for anything. Even when we could be eating and on the phone and looking at TV and moving. We never take the time to enjoy things, to just sit. And so that's how when you, like I say, just adding in those three key ingredients and having the right amounts of all of it balances everything out. And definitely with cannabis, it's so many different routes and there are some people who don't have to. I have a good example. One of my cousins was having a lot of issues with pain, and she works for the postal post office, yeah. And don't drink, don't smoke, nothing. And so for her, she was able, and just text me today, was able to find relief from her pain, like back pain, knee pain, taking all these prescription medicine. Like now she is just like straight up CBD. She's got her ointment, her rubs, she's got her drops. She just ordered a 3-pack of drops today. She's like, oh my God. And I remember her starting off with, am I high? Should I feel this way? And now I'm like, that's funny. You went from being so scared, taking it, to now you're getting 3-packs, and
Not
being able to
what she
see.
does.
Yeah, and I'm like, and you still are not high, but you're feeling good. You don't even need to get a medical marijuana card because you can just get treated and manage, not treated, but you can manage your symptoms using this option, a more alternative and safer option on your body. So that's the thing too, because again, like when you say cannabis, people just strictly go, oh, it's just weed and it's just smoking. People just go to a fat blunt and that's it. And there's so many different options, from even just doing bath bombs to adding, we were talking about, started off talking about sex and clitoris, but for sex, for that foreplay and sexuality, add in
So I got a
CBD
question.
massage oils.
Since you brought that back up,
Yeah.
I come work with you. I say, hey, nurse can heal. um like, so you say your pillars is, cannabis, calm mind, and clitoris, right? Like, so what do you do? Prescribe masturbation? How do you what
Right, because that does sound crazy. So
how do
there
you
are
have
little
how does the
things
like,
that
it's one thing to know I got a clitoris. I like it when people flick my bean, but like, what
hmm
does that mean in treatment? Like, how do we not
and
sexualize it? And you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you
right.
guide me with that?
Yes. So yeah, because that does kind of sound like what I'm about to be on camera,
Like,
just
you
playing
gonna
with
give
myself
me
in
a
front of
YouTube
you. What the
account?
hell?
Like, yeah,
Right.
what's going on?
No.
What does that look like?
Yes. So it is very, very private and for people that do in their own space. But it's things that you can do on your own. The first thing, which I realized a lot of women don't do, is just looking at their pussy.
They do not.
Women don't look at that. They don't see, They are not look only time. Usually if they looking down, it's because they think something's wrong. That's when it's like, wait a minute, but just to be like, hey, beautiful, let me just see how this looks, these curves and folds. That doesn't happen.
What if you
It
have a
really
freckle
doesn't.
down there? How would you know?
I mean, seriously, and just to be able to have that connection. And it's so funny because on my phone now, and this is another thing I have people to do, but I have this on my phone, a reminder. And mine goes off at 1 o'clock. I don't know why that time, but reminder, say hello to your pussy every day. Just having that connecting of reconnecting with your body because yeah, anybody can masturbate, right? Anybody can do that. Or there are some people who still just even hearing that, it's like, eh. But
You know,
once you
how did
start
you
slowly
do that?
making those connections, and that's the thing, slowly getting connected with yourself, feeling more comfortable. Once you and if you're not ready for any of that, then you really wouldn't even be coming to me at all. That's my thing. Like if you really are like, ugh, so you would have to already be like, I'm interested. I just don't know what to do. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah, that
couldn't
makes
be
sense.
completely, and that's the big thing for me because even for people who are like, I don't know. Okay, I always do like a little free consult. Let's talk whether it's just cannabis or you're like, hey, I need a whole delicious life remake over whatever. See if it works. But you're not gonna come this way unless it's already kind of got you like, I need to know how to connect. Because
Yeah.
even another part is
Nobody's gonna pay
um
to learn something they're not interested in, except when you go to
yeah.
higher edu like college or something like
Right.
that.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's those are a few things. There are some other things too that you can do, and you don't have to have a partner. You can
But
have a partner.
so I understand that you're like, say hi to your pussy today. How did you have to reconnect to your
Did
pussy, and how would I know I
okay.
need to reconnect to mine?
How I know I needed to is because during my journey of trying to figure out who I was, right? Me getting into meditating, it's like a few years ago when I was going through craziness, I remember coming back to Michigan and I was saying to God, like, this has to make sense. Like, give me some type of guidance. And I can honestly say that was 2018 I got here. By the end of that year, it was like some kind of things kind of just started happening. I'm like, okay, that's crazy. Then 2019, yeah, last year, even more, just things kind of started. Like you were just like I was honestly being able to kind of like take this path. And then I was started reading more books. Again, that was just something I wanted to get into. And not understanding that I was disconnected, but I just wasn't all the way fully whole. Like I just felt like something was missing. And so it's a book that I read that really put it all in perspective for me. And I think too, just as a Black woman, sometimes we are usually not all, we can be viewed as sexual from other people's perspective, but for us to come out as it, it's really like, oh, she a hoe. And not, and even for other races to do it, and it's not always look the same as
And
for Black women.
as soon as you come out as I enjoy sex or I'm a sexual being, people feel like that. Like, there's also the aspect that that predators feel like that entitles them to you. Like, just
Yeah,
you like sex, you want to have sex with them.
with every single person, you have
Yeah,
no
but it's
standard and you
how I
just
know
bust it
the way
wide
I have
open.
sex. I like it. That doesn't mean I want to have sex with people, everybody. If I had sex with everybody who wanted to have sex with me, I wouldn't be. We wouldn't be talking right now.
Yes. Okay. For real. And so reading this book is called Pussy, a Reclamation. And it really helped me to figure like kind of put things in perspective. And that was also part of that journey of like I say, before I got to feeling a delicious life, I had to take this real nasty swallow of reality of what was really holding me back, of what had really created what my current situations were. And that's what I think, during the journey of finding yourself and self discovery is that hard part that comes with it. Like once you get over that hard part of, damn, it really ain't everybody else. It's kind of me. Damn, I really now, okay, maybe that's what was going on with my body because I wasn't fucking taking time to listen to my damn. Maybe, oh, now I get it. Now I see it's okay to be more comfortable in who I am and reconnect with my body and not feel like this below the waist is so separate from my mind. It's so separate from whatever's going on in my heart, so separate from my gut to realize this is all connected. And then even during meditation, when I started meditating, I sometimes would just kind of feel this, I don't know, it was something like it was making me feel more sensual and sexual and empower. I don't know. Something was like flowing through me that was just
That's called
amazing.
Kundalini. No, I don't know for certain,
Well, yeah.
but that's
Well, I know because even that is a type of yoga or meditation, but I was really starting to feel that. And then from that book, there were certain practices, and it's certain ones that I keep and I use on my own, but there were things that just I had to start doing. I had to start looking at myself because I hadn't really, like I say, yeah, you may wash and you clean your ass and you do all of that, but do you really take the time every day? Good morning, pussy. And it's like I swear, even just when I say that now, it's like I feel like there's like a little like, like a little sensation or like a little jolt of like, yeah,
I have to
a
say
little
I've never
badass.
treated mine in the morning. I've never been
Yes.
like, hey boo, good
Start
morning.
tomorrow. Start
I
tomorrow.
might
Get
say
up.
good night
Good
tonight,
morning.
you know?
Yeah, say good night and say good morning. And it really, so even now with my body, I notice so many things different. And just I don't know how to really explain it, but you have just try. I want you to try it and you
So
tell me.
I will try. I'll say this. I
Yeah.
believe you because I
Yeah.
teach embodiment. I practice
Hmm.
being aware of your body sensations. I have my clients do that. We do a cultivating of sensuality where
Yes.
like even my pajamas, right? I have on pajamas with like high thigh, low cut. I'm trying to be
Hmm.
sexy
Hmm.
on purpose. Like, but this is something I'm doing just in my house, right? I want to feel that way in my skin. I ordered me some new
Right.
panties, some new lingerie because I want to feel like I asked my friend, I'm like, hey, will you take a boudoir shoot for me? She was like, of course.
Yes.
So
Yes.
like these are things to do to cultivate it, but I can't say like, and then I'm sexual when I like I'm in the act, I'm in the act and I'm having fun for myself.
Hmm.
And the things that I like to do are the things that I like to do for me, not necessarily
Right.
just for them. But I don't think I'm in touch with her separate from being in the act or separate from a maintenance or like like there's keeping it clean, shave and stuff like, but I don't
Right.
think that there's like what you're describing to me feels like communion or connection with.
Yes. And that's why I love the yoni steams, which I think we kind of went over
We
this when we
talked
were
not on the show.
very
We talked
briefly.
about
Yeah,
I don't
like this
really
was
know much
outside.
about a yoni steam, and I hear mixed things. And I
Yeah.
think our gynecologist, okay, we tell us about a yoni steam.
Well, I guess it depends on the doctor. And again, everything that is discussed here on my from what I am giving is not to replace you seeing your healthcare professionals. You need to do that. You need to have those conversations. I help you feel more comfortable if you're adding cannabis into it, whether it's CBD or marijuana. I help you feel more comfortable and be more empowered with the right education to do that.
So you just
But
put cannabis in my yoni.
oh yeah, but yeah. So on that note, you can do CBD yoni steams, which I'll be offering those soon. I do actual yoni steams anyway. But the herbs that are used do have been dated back for centuries of use for women's health. And I can always say it's funny how a lot of times we're like, what is this natural stuff? But it's like there were people who lived years ago and survived without like hospitals and Tylenol and all of these medicines. And of course, not saying that we don't use those things because they have their purpose and their use, but
But
there are still. Mhm,
I have this pushback though. Like, yes, people
mhm.
survive, but life expectancy was also shorter the further we go back in history.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, life expectancy in real life, people are dying younger and younger. Like I know so many people who have, and I'm not even saying just trauma like gunshots and all that. I'm saying just like dropping dead young, like people having with more comorbidities of diabetes, stroke, young, like 30s and 40s. That's crazy to me. Like, that's just crazy. And again, I'm not saying don't take medicines, don't go to your doctor. You need to do those things, but you also need to be aware of your body and how it works, and that there are other things that you can add to your health regimen to also promote your health and wellness. Like, that's just my take on it and how I look at it. So I always stress that this is not to replace your doctor.
So
Yoni seems,
what does it do? So now that you've given all that disclaimer and all of the
yeah. So
qualifications,
what they
what does it do for
do,
my yoni?
yeah. So women have used them for infertility issues to help with fertility. They've helped with vaginal toning. They help with regulating your menstrual cycle, um, even with balancing your pH and issues with infections that may come, like BV. Some women suffer from that a lot. Um, Also, even with other things that's going on within your body, because it's able to be absorbed through the vaginal opening, those herbs, and not the actual herbs because it's over steam, but through the steam, it can help with other ailments. Like if you're having upset or GI issues, it can help with that. There was a time when I was, this was last year, I think. Yeah, I think it was last year. I had got like a little cold, and I remember being in Walgreens with my runny nose. This is before COVID, because you know you can't go in there like that, honey, but in a runny nose, horrible. A friend called me and she's like, "Why are you at the store getting medicine? Go do you a yoni." And I'm like, "You know what? I am." And I different herbs have different purposes. Use some herbs for helping to eliminate harmful organisms. When it's a diuretic, just put a few little things mixed up. I promise that was a Friday night. I did that. Saturday, I slept so good. I remember, and I was getting up throughout the day. Saturday, Sunday, I was a new person. Didn't take anything but a yoni steam, and I used some elderberry. So I've seen the benefits from just um, maintaining my health, I would say. And also, just some women like it as just like a spa day, but a spa day for your pussy, in a way to reconnect with yourself as well as a
So I'm
woman.
having
So,
so many thoughts run through my mind. I'm feeling so conflicted right now. Like, so I'm a spiritual being and I am a practitioner. So
okay.
programming some herbs to do some things is not necessarily strange to me. That is right in
Hmm.
alignment with my beliefs. But then
Yeah.
too, as a hood hippie, a time
Okay.
like so a natural remedy for yeast infection is garlic.
Hmm.
And I had a cheating boyfriend, so I had a yeast infection and I used some garlic. And the
Hmm.
thing is, when you put the garlic up there, your mouth tastes like garlic. The whole, like
Hmm.
everything you eat tastes like garlic. And when I Googled it, because Google is the oracle, you know how that works.
Okay.
Um, Apparently, like there is a connection between your vagina and your like taste buds. And then you
Hmm.
so like that makes me like be like there's something to this yoni same thing because you're like different herbs do different things. And I know I had the experience of tasting garlic. I know that I
Hmm.
program herbs for my own spiritual medicinal uses. So it's not a far stretch for me to be like, oh, I could program through the seat of my womb and have that wellness flow all the way, even up through my, like, so it makes sense. But then there's this westernized education side
Hmm.
where it's like when you're like, you mentioned BV, but I'm like, but the gynecologist told me that anything that goes in my vagina besides water is going to make me get BV. And I don't
Hmm.
want to do that. And so, like, there's this, like, I'm having these conflicting experiences.
Yes.
Nurse Canna, heal me. What do I do?
So really, it's everyone has their own right to choose what's best. When you start really taking the time to listen to your body, lead with your intuition, you're open to try things. I know for me as a nurse, being taught on the Western medical side, like you aren't taught about alternative medicine. You damn sure are not taught about medical or cannabis at all in nursing school. Maybe now you may hear about a school one here or there having a course, but that was 15 years ago. Hell to the no, they were not talking about no cannabis. They were not talking about no herbal remedies. And even now, when I talk to my doctor, he kind of laughs, when I bring up CBD. No, I had a CBD shirt on one day, and he's like, "Oh, so what did you use, CBD?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, I did, fool. Well, not fool, but we laugh and joke. But because in his mind, yes, I'll write a script. Yes, I'll write a script. And yeah, that does work. There are times when it does work. But then again, as a nurse and talking to people every day, I hear of and know of how people are taking a lot of medicines with a whole lot of other side effects, taking a whole lot of medicine and still don't have no relief at all.
Antidepressants take away your sex drive.
That's a whole,
So
and
when
that's
you
even
say
like when it,
calm mind, cannabis, and working with your clit, if I'm taking an antidepressant instead of using CBD to give me an elevated mood, now I might not be having sex with my partner. My relationship might
yes.
struggle. Then now they on my couch because I do relationship coaching too. Like it's a whole, but
Hmm.
then it's some stuff you got to figure that out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm a little bit interjecting. Let me check the time to see where we
Yes, I did
are.
not.
Oh, we got a
We are
little bit of
probably
time. We're not that far because we started at 7 and
okay.
we chatted for a little bit. So
Yeah.
um I don't know if you remember. I just want to, since we on a little bit of a little intermission,
Yes.
you get to ask Alexis a question at the end that Alexis is not prepared for ahead of time. While
Oh,
knowing
what did
that
I
the
say?
answer could be none of your business or I don't want to. But I'm pretty transparent. So just bringing that back to your mind and have like gelling toward, working.
Mm-hmm.
But so now I happen to know this exists. And I may or may not have experimented myself with it. But
Mm-hmm.
Nurse Canna, tell us about cannabis lube and what does that do for a libido? What does it do for my yoni? Would I use the kind with THC? Would I not? What?
Yeah. So just as having a yoni steam that could have CBD herbs in it, you can definitely, because there are receptors in our vaginal area that respond to the CBD, and it helps with increasing the lubrication of our vagina area and turning on those feel good senses, kind of heighten your sensation.
Is
And again, for
it affect
eh,
some of them 8,000 nerves?
okay, you might think you got 9,000. That's all I'm saying. Okay, because you want to feel all of them. And there are some women who struggle with vaginal dryness, and or some who just can't work with
I mean,
just
everybody
regular
don't have
lube.
a WAP.
Yeah,
Everybody
and it's, I
don't have a
mean,
WAP, but you can get lube and experience and have the experience of a WAP. You
exactly.
don't
So
have to
think of it
just
like
be out here dry, y'all. You don't.
you do not. And then people, your vaginal, you're having vaginal dryness, sex is painful. And it could be painful sex from other things that are going on. Irritation may be going on. It could be so many things. And so using the lube with CBD or even just like marijuana lube, one, it helps to, it's going to relax you because it's vascular down there. So you're going to feel it throughout your whole body. So it's more of a relaxed feeling. But again, it's going to keep that area feeling nice and
So you
amazing.
saying I'm gonna get my pussy high? Is that what I hear you saying? I think that's
You
what
know
I
what
hear
I'm
you saying.
saying?
I hear you
Yeah.
trying not to say it, but that's what I hear.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of what's gonna happen, especially if you're using something with THC. That's when you really say, "Hi, pussy. Hi, pussy," because pussy's
Hey,
hot.
Lou, don't you
Okay.
look cute and smell amazing?
Right. And so even think if you add to doing taking the drops, or you do like some CBD drops orally that relaxes you. Now you use the lube, baby. You are just seriously like, now that is
So
a
I
slice
heard
of
you say
delicious pie.
CBD drops orally, but I don't know that I
Mhm.
heard you say ingest them orally. I heard you say oral and CBD drops. That's what I heard.
Oh, okay. Well, however you need to, you however you
I'm
need
just
to get them
saying,
in
you
there,
could
however you
kill
need to
two
get it in your
birds with
mouth.
one stone, right? Like you could
You
just
really
orally
could.
and clitorally all at the same damn
Okay. Okay.
time. I'm just
Feed each
saying
other.
partner play is a thing. You said that earlier.
It seriously
That's a
is. You
part
know
of
what I'm
the show.
saying? Okay. Y'all can dose each other up. You surely can. And it's a way to
And remember,
relax. And
consent is key, y'all. Don't be doing it. Consent is key with everybody's full enthusiastic
consent.
yes, with a cheerful yes. Okay.
Yes. Check. Okay. And so even for like dudes who smoke weed and that girl don't, because I know that that's sometimes the thing, like, oh, she don't smoke weed, I do. Get her the CBD. She'll relax. She's gonna be feeling good. She kind of thinking, I'm high too. I don't know.
With
That's
her
gonna help you
commitment,
out,
do not
fellas.
do a Bill Cosby with them. CB, do not give nobody
No,
a Bill
well, and see,
Cosby
that's why
recipe.
and this is why I always say CBD is better than drinking, because you're not gonna have that where you losing your inhibitions, where you're like, oh, I don't know who I'm with. Oh, no, you're not like that. Now, drinking, yeah, that can happen. You might wake up and be like, what the hell did I do
You
last
wake
night?
up like, what
What?
booty hurt?
Okay. But CBD, like, not even saying marijuana, but CBD, the fact that there's such a low THC in there, one, And CBD doesn't even provide that type of response. So that is always the best way to
I
go for
still
that
don't
kind
want it
of.
without my permission, though, Nurse Cannon. I don't want
Oh,
nobody
I'm not saying nobody do without your permission. You have your own. I'm saying couples. That's what I'm talking about. Couples.
okay.
Y'all is already consent. I ain't saying the creep nigga who smoke weed and trying to go get no ass. I'm saying you coupled up. Your girl don't do no drugs, but you're like, hey, I want to smoke my weed. I want her to relax a little bit. This is a way you can do it. I even had my little packages. This was the bomb. I had the CBD bath bomb, the massage oil, and the little gummies. That's a whole little kit for the boo.
Like a gummy. That sounds like a Valentine's Day sampler or something, right? Like something that I
Yeah.
want so that me and my boo can do me and my boo things and
Yes.
mind our business.
Okay. And wake up and know everything that happened because you're gonna remember what's happening while it's happening.
And
Okay.
it
And
ain't
be
gonna be no
feeling good.
leaving it in or nothing like that. No baby making, right?
Right.
It's all
And
right.
feeling good.
No, no.
And so nothing. And that's why I say the CBD is a lot safer because for people who may do edibles like weed edibles or marijuana, it can have you stuck. With the CBD, you don't get that feeling. Like
Oh,
you
yeah,
feel
that's
good.
true. Because if you do too much,
Yeah.
the other day I made a mistake and ate 3 weed cookies because they taste good. And I was on
See?
the phone and I baked cookies that was not weed cookies and I made a mistake.
Hmm.
It was over.
Yeah. So that's the thing that THC will have you somewhere stuck. It really will. So that's the one thing about it is and it have you so high that you're just like, what the hell going on? So that's the good thing with the CBD. And then to determine if you should have, a marijuana one or a CBD lube, that's really each person preference. Like it really kind of depends, you know, if some people are just like, I don't want nothing that's weed. I don't want anything. Okay, well then go the CBD route. But if you're like, maybe I need something that has me a little bit kind of more chill, more relaxed, more kind of, maybe I want a little bit of a hat, then I would go that route. So it really just depends on the person. And also, I wouldn't make it my first time. If you're going to try marijuana products, you might want to kind of try to before you want to get in the mood because you don't want to have no crazy reaction where it may be, like I say, some people just don't do well. They may think, oh, I can try it. It's not me smoking weed. And it just doesn't do well with them. So,
So that right there brings it that ties right into this question. So I coach people on their feelings and personal transformation, and a lot of times
mhm.
that falls into the realm of tender heart here. That's who this is.
I love tender
It's
heart.
my tender heart. And so my question is, how can cannabis aid a person in being able to like do that kind of self work and that like it's couples, not a person. I'm sorry. So like we talking about
As couples.
as couples. Like so can we sit there and smoke and then have what it takes to talk something through instead of arguing? Is it a particular strain? Would CBD help with that? Like so that it's like, all right, we talking about this hard thing and I want to, you know what I'm saying, really,
Mhm.
really go for your jugular, cut you with words, that kind of stuff. But maybe I had this pause. Could cannabis fall in there anywhere?
It possibly could for that person. Of course, like I say, with CBD, it does what our body should do, but it can't because it's all out of whack and produce that blissful feeling. So that could be something that, and even within a couple, each person has their own things that they have to work through. So even like for me, as being a part of a married relationship, there were things that Erica had to figure out to get me right to make my portion of the couple right. You know what I'm saying? And yes, that did include, and that was the journey of realizing how, okay, when I use cannabis the right way, which is using more CBD and clitoral stimulation through, hey, just making sure I communicate with that baby every day, making sure I connect with her through other sources, whether it's even through my meditations, even if it's through having my yoni steams or just that whole hands-on technique. You know what I'm saying? And just also with the calming of the mind, I saw how those things, like bringing that all together and having the actual routines and habits, helped me to be a better person. So in a couple, it's not, I don't look at it like, hey, husband, we need to have a talk. Let's go do our cannabis first. Like it has become a part of my routine to keep me at bay and keep me more balanced to where even when those moments come where it's like, here's a bullshit trigger, I'm more mindful to say, Erica, are you making that a bullshit trigger because of past? Or, you know, I look at it differently. And like how you were saying, how through using cannabis and meditating, you start to see stuff like a movie. You can kind of step back and see the things, and it's like, oh, okay, I see it different now. Now I see how I can create this argument because I may say some dumb shit because I'm thinking about 5 years ago, you know. And so I think when it comes to couples, in couples, we have to still remember who we are individually and what we need to work on to make it a better couple. And if using cannabis can help you with that, because for me, my mind was always racing, always. And I will create a story like I'm damn Dr. Seuss, like I am freaking Tyler Perry. Okay, whole movie off of something that ain't even happened. But pretty much I'm writing a book, but I'm going back to old chapters and just rewriting the new chapter with the old pages. And cannabis, once I start being more mindful of the use, and like I say, not making it a habit of I'm just gonna smoke weed or I'm just gonna do CBD because it's popular now, but saying, okay, this is something that I know actually can get my body back in line and help balance shit out. Let me use that so that then when I start meditating, it'll kind of have my mind more calm where I ain't thinking, ooh, let me meditate because fuck this motherfucker. I'm mad at this shit. No, I can just meditate.
So you meditate instead of ruminating, right?
Right. Okay. So I can really
He
meditate,
said, "Fuck
you know,
that motherfucker."
because that's kind of how meditation was to me, you know, and it's like, I ain't really getting nowhere. So that is how, for me, adding it in and using those kind of ingredients help me be a better person, help me be better in my relationship. So, kind of a long way to answer the question, I guess.
But it's still the end.
But
But here's the thing. So that kind of healing, the kind I'm talking about, ain't no short way to do it. So
yeah,
the long way to answer it still mean you got a long way to do it, right? Like there's no
yeah.
short. So don't even
And
worry.
it's still a progress. And that's the thing, I think people sometimes we don't take time to be compassionate with ourselves. We feel like even if, you know, someone comes to you, they feel like, well, that's it, I'm done, I should never have a problem again, she's fixed us. But it's a constant,
Not
you're going to
in this
continue to
world.
work
They
on
don't
it.
know that that's not what. No, that's how they show up. But then it's kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, we teach you tools for how to live your life,
Yeah, the tool, and
not
that's what it is
the
that
thing
people don't
to
understand.
accomplish.
It's tools that they need that you're going to continue to use, but now you have the tools. Because that's what I had to realize, is that the reason I couldn't make it is because the reason I couldn't make a delicious life is because I didn't have the right ingredients or the right tools. I'm trying to make a apple pie with damn Lawry's and a crock pot. Like, girl, you ain't got nothing at all. What is you doing?
You don't even
You
have.
got poultry,
How you gonna make an apple pie with no apples and season salt?
not nan apple, okay, oregano. I got onion powder. So once I realized
It's called
getting
onion.
the right tools, right? Just onion pie. Like, what is this?
That's
So once you get the right tools and have the right knowledge and know how to use those tools, and that's why I'm like, when we were talking about clitoral stimulation, like, well, what does that mean? Or how do you empower your pussy? Well, having the tools and then knowing what steps to do, the practices, because that's the thing too. What do I do? Having that all together is what helps you stay in the process of learning and growing and knowing how to
that.
adjust to the BS.
That what do I do is a big deal because I know with some of my like I work with women in their sensual practices. It
Mm-hmm.
like I'm not a sensuality coach, but that's a
Right.
part of your transformation, be it in your authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't know how to touch themselves, or if they do, they're not
Yes.
feeling that level of intense emotion. And so, like any intense emotion has them locked in their body, and it's like a shutdown. And so, it's
Mm-hmm.
a much slower practice of cultivating that experience. But people be wanting like a quick fix, like
Yeah.
just tell me how to flick my beans, so I get the orgasm, and then I'm done. And it's kind of like, well, if you've never even really been sexy in yourself, like in your being, if you've never felt sensual,
Right.
never felt fully aroused and comfortable, we got to
Mm-hmm.
learn, we got to teach you how to feel these feelings, then for you to learn what to do with them. Some people, if you can't
Exactly.
take all that intensity to have you start with something like a vibrator, that's just
Mm-hmm.
going to be a turn off. It's not
Yeah.
for you. And so like, but people have trouble having these conversations. They do all kind of clenching up.
Right. Ooh.
So cannabis could help. Um,
And that's why it's so important, because it does kind of, once you stop frowning about cannabis and clitoris, like, and you have a little dose of cannabis, and you're like, okay,
oh, the inner side.
oh,
Ooh, clitoris.
okay,
What can I do?
feeling good. Yeah, and you start feeling good, and now you like, hey girl, and she like, hey girl back, and you like, oh well,
And
let me
let's
reintroduce myself.
let's not like Sunshine over here just told me let's not forget to talk about, you know,
Hmm.
we talk about the clitoris a lot, but there is the G spot.
Yes. Now, yes, and the reason I use clitoris, well,
I mean, the clitoris is
because
like
it's
it's a
yes,
big
the
organ.
and it's the big thing about it is, and it doesn't like that person when it's not really like it has to stimulate this, but it's just more so the whole understanding the power of your pussy. That's the biggest part of it, and not just as a sexual being, but how it really relates to every aspect of your life and our creativity, our connection to the freaking universe and God is like, seriously, we can co-create. What the fuck? Like, we create life, we create so much, and there's so much strength in women, and we forget that shit. And society tells us that, you are right. And well, you is okay if you look this way and you got this and this is going on. And they
Men
kind of
would not
define what's sexy.
the men wouldn't have done all of that to try to control it if it didn't have the power.
Exactly. And that's what I think we forget about that. And sometimes just having that kind of awakening or remembrance of that is like, you damn fucking right. Hell yeah. And once you, like I say, and it's just with making that connection. Like you made a connection with tasting the damn garlic that was in your pussy. It shows you that there's a true connection, honestly, from here even up to our mind. Like there is something, even sometimes when I meditate on certain things or I have those moments of self pleasure, that is just like the burst of creativity that I get afterwards is like I remember I was like, oh, this is like I was just writing stuff down, like, oh my God, this is crazy. It was just like things were just flowing from, I don't know, I guess from my yoni. But it all, that's just the biggest part of it for me. It's just women understand the power there. So whether you decide to fling, 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 or just have those talks with your pussy, pull out a mirror and just speak power into that baby. You know what I'm saying? That may be someone's source of masturbation.
I'm sorry,
Fling, fling,
you
fling.
can't do that. And I flame, 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 flame. I'm sorry. Look at
Really, like,
okay. Listen, we're not at a party. I can't keep. We got to wrap this up a little bit. All right, there's Scanner, Miss Eric.
yes, 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 yes.
I'm afraid, with all of the comfort I've had with this subject, but
Hmm.
what are you gonna ask Alexis?
Oh, yes. So this is a simple question, but I think I would like to know. So, someone, and I'm going to say this could be anyone dead or alive, that you could have a this type of conversation with, smoke some weed, and have a good clitoral calming of the mind conversation with, who would it be? Who
I
would
just had
that one
one with
person be?
you.
No, well, another person then.
Are
Well,
you
this was, I mean, we knew we was going to talk about this,
so
but
like? Are you
somebody,
about like a romantic? I am comfortable. This kind of conversation, I'm comfortable with having with anybody, unless they creepy, like or they get into
oh,
pervy
okay.
mode. Like if they, because some people you start talking about this and they can't handle your comfort, they get all kind of aroused, and then it's a
But
protection.
like smoking, like having like a nice cannabis infused moment with to have these.
Now, there's who would I want to? I could think of like I would want to have one with Barack Obama.
See, I think that'd be a good
I wouldn't
conversation.
mind smoking
I
some
would really like to
pro
see.
Barry O's mind because he'll be Barry O in that. In this hand right
Okay.
here, this one shook Barack Obama. It shook his hand already,
Oh, see,
but so
now I just got to
we're
pass
not
it over.
pass the blunt, right? Like that's
Right.
almost the same thing. It just I had got the
Exactly.
blunt, and the Secret Service was like, "You can't." No, I'm just lying.
No,
But
I feel you.
yeah, I
I
wouldn't
like that story better.
I wouldn't mind smoking one with like to hear, like because he acknowledged in that one movie that he smoked some weed. So like did he used to smoke
Hmm.
weed and dream about being the president or dream about making impact on the presidential level? Like
Okay.
what happened when he was smoking weed? Because he's a thinker.
Did you
And he
smoke
likes
weed at the White
sativa
House?
or indica.
Okay. You and
And
Michelle
if
smoke
you
every
did
now and
smoke at
then.
the
What's
White House,
right?
you know what I'm saying? When you gonna let us know? Is it in the memoirs? I don't know.
Do you
That was
meditate and
cool.
smoke? I know you like to chill and heal. How you do yours? Let me know,
Ooh,
Barack.
I would
So
want to
yeah,
with Erica Badu.
yeah, I
Although
really
there's
think
a
that
little
would
bit
be
of fear.
super dope.
I say this, I have some fear about smoking with Erica because she is such a spiritual being that, and I might be so enamored with her Baduism that she just might be able to absorb all of my little ashe. I don't even know. Like I just
I would love it. I would just be so open to whatever the hell was gonna happen because I just
it's a
think it
part
would
of me
be
that would
so
be
freaking
honored.
spiritual and
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, like a rebirth.
I'd be honored to give her a little bit of mine. You know what I'm saying? Like
Okay.
we got mine with her. But I also plan on doing great things. Maybe we could just be friends. Hey, Erica.
Okay. Right. Put that on out there. Put that on out there.
I already got one Erica on the comfy couch. Why not two?
Bring it on. I see it.
So I guess, and then if you don't have a different question, I guess those are my answers.
Right. Well, I like those answers. I mean, it started off crazy because my question was really bootleg. But I like how we rounded it out. I like
Yeah, I
that.
gave you like
But
a real person because it's the whole world. Like I meet with him. I'm
hmm
my business coach. I wouldn't mind smoking with her. We talk all the time, and we're high intense impact limit. You know what I'm saying? Like so, if you smoke
right.
dream of ways to change the world.
Oh my God, seriously. Two women smoking and meditation, freaking women empowerment,
Ooh,
pussy
I would
power. It would be
love
freaking
now that.
amazing.
I would love to have a weed, like a cannabis calming mind retreat where
Mm,
maybe we should do that, Nurse Canada, where we do because
we
I can walk.
should.
You can walk people through a meditation. I can walk people through a motivation. I get
Yeah, I
downloads.
like
We can
that.
sit there. Oh, we could do some kind of like twerking with belly. So that's how I learned to twerk with
It's a
belly
girl who I know a girl who does that. I met her this
I put them
summer at an event.
so I can hear how my body shakes to the beat.
You was telling me about that.
Yeah, so maybe once we get
Okay,
once we get into the out, we could do it.
I think that'd be good. I would definitely do that.
Oh,
And it would be so much fun. I mean, seriously.
it would be like we
It,
could have it could be like hippie love,
hell yeah.
hood hippie love fest. No, that sounds like an orgy. Um,
Bro. Say not that much clitoral stimulation,
yeah,
okay?
I'm not trying to go and not for people that do rock out
You
with
do
your
what
cock
you
out,
do.
but
That's hey, I'll
I'm
take
not. That's just it's intense. I might watch one before I would be like in one.
yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah, I'll definitely watch it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
but so now that I feel like I've gone far more than, far further than I would have gone alone. And I feel like this is a part of that deja vu moment that I was thinking
Yes.
about before. Nurse Canna, what'd you do to me? Right? You did that. So it's the Ericas. I think what it is.
Right.
It's
Right.
it's not
Yes.
just Badu. It's the Ericas,
Which is
period.
crazy because my husband, ever since I was like 16, has called me Badu. His friend thought that was my real name. Like it was crazy. I'm like, no, sir, I'm actually Erica.
Probably because
Yeah.
you put it on him like Badu do. He
Mm-hmm.
is your husband.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Okay.
ain't said nothing about cooking and cleaning and none of that. I'm just
Mm-mm. No. Right. Tell my life. Okay. Preach my story. No.
but I have so many raunchy things that they could just all these one liners could just keep coming.
Yes.
Cheer Bear, cheer you on. What you doing? How do people find you? Give us the links. Give us
Yes.
the yes.
Canna Nurse Hill, that's on Instagram. That is like pretty much my main place of all things cannabis, all things calming the mind, and tidbits on clitoral stimulation. I'm slowly adding that in there because I know how y'all be cringing. I have a website up, cannanursehill.com. Yep, same name, making it easy. There are the Yoni themes. I'm in Detroit, so I do have the Yoni themes on there. Yeah, 313, baby. Um, and I've got my class for healthcare professionals. That's already on there and available. So if you want to sign up for that, or if you have questions, concerns, you're like, hey, is this something I can use for whatever? Reach out to me. I love talking with people and answering questions. You can even set up a free consult on my website. So if you want to talk, either face to face or over the phone, am I a real person? Clearly, you see I am. But reach out. I love helping you understand cannabis and helping you connect with yourself and rediscovering the best version of you. So that is it,
So
honey.
just so y'all know, I'll be reaching out because why wouldn't I want to after this conversation and all the other ones I had without y'all?
Right.
And so there's that. I would like to say it has been a pleasure talking to you, and I am loving all things that you do. I love the idea of cannabis, calm mind, and stimulated clit. Um,
Okay.
so that
Okay.
sounds like Oh man, what would I do on vacation? That. Um, that sounds like, yep, we just add that to the itinerary.
Okay.
And I want to say, I came, oh, people, guests, lovely, like, I'm sorry, audience out there in YouTube land. Anybody wanting to hop up on this comfy couch, you can submit, you can reach out on my contact form on my website, which is askalexis111.com, just like the channel is askalexis111. They're just like Nurse Canna made it easy for you.
Okay.
AskAlexis111.com. Just contact us. Come sit on the comfy couch. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we'll have a couple sessions. And I'm not talking about past the blunt sessions. I'm talking about transformation sessions.
Okay.
I can talk to you about your clit too. But Nurse Canna, gonna hit you with that cannabis. All right.
Oh.
So you might want to talk to her. It has been wonderful. Thank you so much, Erica. You are always
Thank
welcome back.
you.
Anytime you have anything else going on, Cheer Bear will always hip roll. See that? That's the hip roll right there.
Yes, work it,
Oh,
work it,
oh
work it.
yeah, boom. Cheer Bear will hip roll for you.
What's her cash app?
That's right. Hold on, wait. Oh, that's the bloopers. Okay.
Right.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good day. Come on now.
Good night, everybody. Good day.